I think it's just basically off the board that Buffalo has a disaster season. And I think Baltimore, whether it is because of the way we saw their defense play at the beginning of this year, or Lamar getting hurt the previous couple of years, we've seen Baltimore have that down year out of nowhere, and that to me would lead.
Well, the down year
is if he's sick,
8, right?
If he gets he's had these colds, little injuries that aren't that serious, but slight injuries. But outside of that, he hasn't had. They don't have a down year when he's healthy.
No, I know, but the Bills don't have one at all. I mean, the Bills every single year win that division.
They do.
Every single year win 10 games. Every single year in the playoffs.
The division is right. But I think, and I would give Josh the slight, he's certainly been better than Lamar in the playoffs. But I thought Lamar, even though he had the fumble and and that could have pretty much cost him the game, he took steps this year.
I
talked
agree
about
with
it, Pittsburgh, not only Pittsburgh, period, but Pittsburgh in the playoffs. And then played well against Buffalo.
Nick's not like me. He's not a Lamar guy. I've been a Lamar guy forever.
Okay, let's talk about this because this take really makes a lot of little sense. Talking about that the Ravens are more likely to have a down year than the Bills and using seasons where Lamar Jackson was banged up as a reference point, that's kind of absurd. I don't even know how to honestly it's actually kind of makes me dumbfounded, honestly. It does seem like every year Nick looks for reasons why to kind of bring down the Ravens or bring down Lamar. And again, if you could give more concrete thoughts on why, then I could understand. But just this whole kind of idea of well, they're more likely just to have a bad season than the Bills. It's kind of like, what? And Lamar Jackson has continued to get better and better and better every single season. The quarterback that he is now is significantly better than when he was when he first got his first MVP. I mean, the maturity, the composure, his understanding of the game has deepened so much more significantly. And I do think he's continued to grow and strive and get more and more comfortable in really any game situation, but also more in these more elevated, bigger game, closer game scenarios. Watching him duel back and forth against the Bengals, even in the game against the playoffs, against the Bills. I understand he lost. Obviously, I've unpacked that so many times and defended him until I'm blue in the face. But I think what he was leading the Ravens to in that second half was going to be special, and the team failed him. The team absolutely failed him. That was going to be arguably his best accomplishment, on the field, and it was taken away from him, by no fault of his own. And I think he's going to continue to evolve, and it's very clear to me that a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, he gets haunted by his failures. And he wants this more than anything. And it's very similar to me like Jalen Hurts. When Jalen Hurts talked about how when he lost that Super Bowl, his soul changed. He was not the same person. He kept, that wallpaper on his phone of the confetti flying, when it was red and gold or whatever. And it really broke him. And I feel like Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson are very much driven by that. Those failures, them coming up short, it haunts them significantly. I think Mahomes is motivated by the pursuit of trying to be the greatest, of chasing Tom Brady. I think that's his main pursuit. He has so much other stuff going on. He obviously doesn't want to fail, but it's just a different. I think Patrick Mahomes losing in the Super Bowl doesn't change his soul like it would for Lamar or Jalen Hurts. And I think a quarterback like Josh Allen, I think Josh Allen's an absolute beast, but I think Josh Allen, obviously wants to win, obviously wants to be great. And I think he continues to grow and improve, but he's not as locked in and as focused as I would say a Lamar or Josh or Lamar or a Jalen Hurts is actually. When they beat the Ravens in the playoffs, like Josh Allen was in the locker room and he was like about to clap and like had like this big smile on his face because he was like waiting for his coach to finish talking, and it was like the energy that he had was kind of like, it wasn't like, okay, that's great, we beat the Ravens, now we're on the next one, we got to get focused, we got to get locked, like, and it's not to say that Josh Allen doesn't get locked in, it's just a different energy, like Jalen Hurts would not budge from 22 onward. He would not budge until the job was done. He just would not. And it was just, he had just laser focus. And I really feel as though that's what we're seeing more and more out of Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson knows what he's capable of achieving. He knows how special and how great he is. And I believe that he is relentless in that pursuit. He was so frustrated how 23 ended and was like, I'm making a change in 24. And then during 24, he was so frustrated how the season was going and was just like, kind of like, all right, enough. When he kind of referenced his mom, when he's like, my mama yelled at me, and he's like, I'm just done with this. And I really feel like that unlocked another version of Lamar Jackson as well. So I do believe we're going to continue to see the evolution of Lamar Jackson. But I am such a broken record with this, in the sense, though, that the success of the Ravens are not on the shoulders of Lamar Jackson. It is on the shoulders of the organization, of the other players, of the coaching staff, of the GM ownership. They have not done a good enough job of getting these teams ready in the moments that matter most. They've actually done a great job of building teams at the end of the day. When you actually look at all the Pro Bowlers that they've had, since like 2018, 2019, especially compared to the Buffalo Bills. But when push comes to shove, when it's time for them to all play their greatest, not just Lamar, but all of them, and coaching as well, they as a whole come up short. And that continues to be the most frustrating thing about this team. And if Harbaugh is not considered to be on the hot seat this season, if we don't go into this season having like, Harbaugh's on the hot seat, or even, in September and October and November, like, I'm going to lose my mind. I really will. Because he 1000% deserves to be on the hot seat. Anything, unless this defense is so elite and so special, it's looking like the Kansas City Chiefs defense or the Philadelphia Eagles defense, where it is just suffocating, and you can point out in multiple key moments, like, whoa, man, that stop on fourth down in the fourth quarter was huge. Harbaugh really had something going. Like, outside of moments like that, like, it becomes indefensible. If they continue to have all the problems with their penalties, I'm going to lose my mind. You can't have the last couple of years end the way they did. Have Lamar Jackson be MVP, All-Pro, etc., have the Philadelphia Eagles dominate the Kansas City Chiefs. It's like, if this doesn't open something up, you now have a whole nother year with Derrick Henry. If there's not an evolution of Lamar and Derrick Henry's and the way how the offense is run, where you're not just like, oh my God, where you don't have, virtually every single game where you're like, how do you stop this? I'm going to lose my mind. And that's what always drives me crazy about these conversations, that it just all gets placed on Lamar Jackson, and I just don't believe that's where it should be. I do not think that's fair. And like I always say, yes, can Lamar Jackson play better? Sure. But it's just not all on him. It is the organization. And so, to kind of use a reference point of like, oh, well, this team is more likely to have a down year. And again, use moments when Lamar Jackson's not even the quarterback. That's like, huh? That doesn't really make sense. That doesn't really make sense at all. So Like I said, though, in 23 going into 24, and now what I'm saying in 24 going into 25 in terms of the season, obviously not the exact year, I expect a level of intensity and focus from the Baltimore Ravens, similarly to what we saw with the Philadelphia Eagles. And if I don't see that level of intensity and focus, and you know, if I see them deviate from that at all, I'll be officially done with the Harbaugh, man. I won't even care how the defense is playing. I won't care about anything. I won't even care about their record. If this team is not locked in and focused 100% to win the Super Bowl, it's done. Get a new voice, get a new coach, do something. Do something. Because when you look back on the Philadelphia Eagles season, you could see how week after week after week, it was all about the pursuit of winning the Super Bowl. That's what it was all about. And every single time. And even every time Saquon Barkley did something wild or amazing or whatever it was, he was always like, yeah, that's great, that's awesome. But it's like, it's not just about the regular season. That's not what this is about. This is not what this is about. Like, this is awesome, this is exciting, and we're going to enjoy it, but like, no, but we're here to win a Super Bowl. We're here. That's what this is about. And you can see that that's what the ultimate focus was all about, week after week after week after week. It wasn't just about beating a random team here, a random team there. It was when they faced adversity, it was rooted in the, hey, we're facing adversity, but keep the goal in mind. You know, keep the main thing, as Jalen Hurts put it. That's what I am pleading with the Baltimore Ravens to do. I am pleading for them to do it, because, again, it becomes inexcusable. So that's what I'm expecting. That's what I'm rooting for. That's what I'm hoping for. And if they don't get there, if they don't bring that level of intensity, then to me, that is 1,000% on Harbaugh. 1,000% on Harbaugh. And why all of these offseason takes, not one person has actually mentioned Harbaugh, I don't get it. You would think that the guy cured cancer or something. Like, I really, really don't get it. Or he's like a 5-time Super Bowl winner. Does not. Andy Reid got more blame. Andy Reid, for keeping that team together with all their injuries. Having Patrick Mahomes dink and dunk throughout the whole season and still come away with these wins. He got ripped more for the Super Bowl loss than Harbaugh has in the last 4 years. I can't make sense of it. I can't make sense of it. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Baltimore Ravens and their potential, I guess, for a bad season? Because I guess they're just more inconsistent, I suppose, according to Nick Wright. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.